my definition of success is embracing like the hustle and grind for whatever it is your goal is. Welcome to the Dr. Mudgil podcast. I couldn't be more excited to have Laurie Jefferson, who has so many titles, I don't even know where to begin. The founder, the executive chef, the architect, the manager, the everything of the Cheesecake Spot, which is a cheesecake restaurant, I guess. You guys only sell cheesecakes, right?
Yeah, well, yes, we only sell cheesecakes.
Yeah, so it's the Cheesecake Spot
Cheesecake
with locations in Roosevelt Field Mall and soon to be opening in the village of Amityville.
That's right.
And the Cheesecake Spot's been open for about a year and a half. I know Laurie's son, who you guys should know as well, Mr. J-Fit. And the formation of the Cheesecake Spot, which was about a year and a half ago. Justin was very vocal about it, and he was like telling me how excited he was that his mom was opening a cheesecake store because you're such a great chef and a great baker. And I believe that it was like a long-standing family recipe or something like that, a secret recipe or something.
Something I had worked on for several years, until I perfected it, And
then when you perfected it, I guess you were ready to go into
business. I started, giving it away. Right. Sampling it to people, and then people started ordering it. Just kind of happened. And
then it started to evolve into something around the holidays where you would make cakes for for Thanksgiving and for Christmas and Easter and that sort of stuff, right? I believe you guys are very active in the church. I mean, that must have been a pretty big source of your orders.
Yes, that was a pretty big source, especially when I was testing it out. When I wanted to test recipes, I would bake it, cut it up, take it to the people at church and said, try it. Write something down anonymously what you think about it, and that's how I actually got my feedback.
Oh, wow. And I guess from there it just evolved.
Yeah, it just evolved.
So for those of you who have not visited the Cheesecake Spot, you'll see it's a spot where there's a line that's very, very long, and it has become an extraordinarily popular place. And just in like the year and a half, I guess it's been open, I think it got a shout out from like Nicki Minaj.
Yeah, she loves this sweet potato swirl cheesecake.
There you go. That's her favorite. and a bunch of other celebrities, I believe, have given you guys some shout outs too.
Yes, we've had several come by the kiosk.
So it's been, tremendous amount of growth in a year and a half. The way I actually got to have Laurie on my podcast was a couple of weeks ago. The big guys at the mall were sensing the competition coming from the small guy at the Cheesecake Spot.
That's right.
And I believe they tried to file some sort of injunction saying that there was they were trying to shut you guys down because of the trademark stuff.
Basically, the Roosevelt Field is owned by Simon Malls, and the Cheesecake Factory has a restaurant over there called the Grand Lux. So the Grand Lux, who was owned by the Cheesecake Factory, served notice to Simon Mall's corporate office that they had a problem with us being in the mall.
Wow, what problem could they possibly have?
Supposedly there's a non-compete clause in their lease, and the non-compete clause states that there can be no one in the mall selling more than 3 varieties of cheesecakes or 10 desserts. So since we are selling cheesecakes, and I certainly sell more than 10 varieties of cheesecakes, they serve notice on the mall.
Get out of here.
So immediately I had got a heads up via email on Monday saying there may be a problem. They were checking out what their non-compete said, and then their response to the non-compete from the Grand Lux, which on Tuesday was to serve me immediately with a letter of termination.
That's unbelievable.
They terminated my lease effective May 2nd. They didn't talk to me. They didn't give me a phone call. They just sent me a letter telling me basically get out.
That's unbelievable. With like no notice, basically.
No notice. I wouldn't have known nothing if I hadn't got a heads up from somebody, that's there in the leasing department.
So for any like the small business owners out there, I mean, for me, when I heard that, so the way I found out about it was Justin posted something on his Instagram account, on his Instagram story, and he's got a very active Instagram, and I direct messaged him and said, I'd love to help out in any way possible, whether it's a GoFundMe or, and we were kind of going back and forth, and the thought came to my mind, I was like, just to have you on my podcast, just to get the word out there, because it's a terrifying thought when you put your heart and soul into a business, and and you're basically controlling your business. You're putting everything you have into the business, into the success of this business, and then someone can just sweep the rug out from underneath you and say, hey, in a couple of weeks, you guys are out. But this is actually a testament to the power of social media because there was a huge outcry because of that on Instagram, on Facebook. I mean, it was a huge outcry.
Amazing.
And I think within a couple of days, the local news was notified, and it was a pretty big uproar. And within a couple of days, that injunction was lifted off you guys, I believe, right?
Literally within hours, it was lifted because my son Raphael, the day before when I had got the email, I always let my children know what's going on, and we have a group chat. I sent out a note in the group chat. I said, "This is what's going on." So they was like, wow. So the next day when I was down working at the store and my husband was at the kiosk, the security guard delivered the notice to him. And he called me. And when he called me, immediately I got upset. And I called my oldest son, who was closer to me than my husband was. So he came down to the store where I was, and I was so upset I was crying. Wow. And while I was crying, my oldest son took it upon himself to go on Facebook Live. And he went on Facebook Live, and he just told the whole story. And I tell you, to this date, we have 34,000 views. People begin to view, and he told everybody to share. The sharing that went on, the posting that went on, it was amazing. It was so bad. And I understand that every time that the Roosevelt Field's name is used in any type of news and media, they get an alert. Mm-hmm. Well, they got plenty of alerts on Tuesday. And I say that because I'm sitting there on Tuesday night in my living room, my husband and I, and my cell phone rings at like 10:30 at night. And it's the mall manager saying we are rescinding the lease termination. Wow. Now, my son, he went live like 3 o'clock in the afternoon. So by 10:30, he verbally rescinded it, and the next day he delivered a letter to the kiosk saying it was rescinded. So, but I say now that the fight is not over. We have gotten a lawyer, and the fight is not over because anytime a corporate bully, and I call them corporate bullies, that they can come around and they can literally just try to shut you down. Right. That shouldn't be allowed. Who should have a monopoly on selling cheesecakes?
I mean, you're absolutely right. And I'm so glad that there's a happy ending, but you're right. Yes. There's more work that needs to be done.
Definitely.
And it truly is like a corporate bullying because, they have some deep pockets, I'm sure. Cheesecake Factory, I mean, come on. There's probably hundreds of cheesecake factories and, it's a multi gajillion dollar business. And, they didn't care that you were there until there was a buzz about you guys.
Year and a half.
And the lines were forming. And then, that's like, no one cares if you're not making money and you're not having a successful business. But when there's a buzz, then the big guys say, hey, wait a second. Like, this is taking away from our business.
Absolutely.
And, that's why you're here.
That's why I'm here, And I said, we have a lawyer, like I said, who wanted to have a sit down with them all because let's say there was never a conversation between the Cheesecake Spot and Simon Mall. Besides when the guy called and verbally rescinded it, but there was no other conversation. So we wanted to sit down with them and have a conversation with our lawyer. I got a phone call again saying they would not sit down with our lawyers, but they would be glad to sit down with me, and have a conversation. So I will be sitting out with them on tomorrow morning and finding out how does this non-compete clause affect me going forward.
Right, because again, you're putting a lot of effort into building this business, and you got to make sure it's going to be something that's sustainable.
Absolutely.
Well, we'll get more into this, and obviously, we're going to have all of the plugs for any way anyone who's listening can help you, whether it's through a GoFundMe campaign, and we'll link them to all your social media accounts as well, so everyone can stay abreast of the developments, because we're going to have a big community that's going to be behind you.
Yes.
And, we're going to make sure you guys are, in business for a very, very long time. But I'd love to hear some more of your story and, what kind of drove you to be an entrepreneur. I mean, you're someone who's had tremendous success in your life. You're a successful parent. You have success in your marriage. Your kids are very successful. Mm-hmm. What put that fire under you to to test success as an entrepreneur? But before we even get into that, one of the things that I ask all my guests, and just the only thing I ask them to think about before we sit for a podcast, is for you, what is success?
Success for me is having a goal or a purpose that you strive for until you reach, till it's complete. You just don't stop. You keep going until you get to that place where you find that success.
I love that's like my definition of success. Enjoying the journey to your goal, and the hustle and grind of it all. So what put that spark in you? Like, hey, I know, like, you were making the cheesecakes, you're getting this great feedback. I'm sure a lot of people told you, wow, you need to sell these, you need to sell these, you need to sell
mainly.
these. But what's from that, you should sell these. What in your mind said, hey, I need to sell these?
I have to give credit to my son, Justin, because he is a great motivator. And I have been, selling to family and friends, and people would hear, a little buzz. And I would say, okay, I'll sell to you. And I at one point had them in Grace's Market. They were selling my cheesecakes, and there was Justin constantly saying, Ma, you should do it. You need to do it. And I literally got a call from Justin at least 3 to 4 times a week and got a 30-minute pep talk, encouraging me, Mom, do this. Mom, you should do this. So I remember in 2017, we went on a family vacation into Florida, and I promised Justin before we went, because we had this talk, I said, when I get back, Justin, I'm going to do it. And he was really the motivator that really pushed me, because he didn't let up. He didn't let up.
He is, it's good that he's a personal trainer, because
yes.
he's motivated helping a lot of people.
Yes.
But just to see the effect that he has on his mom,
yes.
That's very nice to hear. So then what happened? So you came back from your vacation.
So I came back from vacation, and my husband and I I didn't know how I was going to sell the cheesecakes. I know I'm being small person, not having a lot of money. I couldn't go rent a store. Didn't have that. So my husband and I talked about it, and I said, well, let's go to the mall. Still wasn't sure what I was going to do at the mall, but I went to the Hicksville Mall first, and they showed me a cart, and I began to say, well, I need to do this. So I said, that's not going to work for me. We went to the Roosevelt Field Mall, and then, the leasing agent said, you have a unique product. We can work with you. So with that being said, she told me what size to build a kiosk, and I called someone to ask to build a kiosk. They said $20,000. I said, that's not going to work. So my husband, who is a carpenter, retired from the state, and I said to him, honey, do you think you could do this? And he said, yes. So he began to work on it in our garage. And the kiosk that you see at Roosevelt Field Mall, my husband built that.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. The countertop, we did have the countertop people do it, but he built that kiosk.
That's unbelievable. Wow,
yeah.
This is like a true,
he did a great job.
family business.
Yeah, he did a great job.
So just talk to us a little bit about that process. So you talk to the mall and you say, I want to have they said this is a great business for a kiosk. You
right.
know. So then do you pay the mall like for space, or like
yes.
is it how big the kiosk is?
Yes. No, they told me they had a special program now, but this is the size that I needed to build. They just gave me measurements.
Okay. So
and
whatever by whatever,
right.
That's the size of your kiosk. And this is how much it costs, whatever, for a year
right.
or a month or whatever the case
right. They told me what it was going to cost. So, and they said, that's when I want to go in. So as we begin to work, and I said, November, we'll go in November. But they have my husband time to build it out. I didn't know what it was going to look like. We just had to mention it. As he began to build it, I began to see it.
Gotcha.
I said, okay, let's do this. No, let's do this. And when it was done, I was like, wow.
So how long did it take to build the kiosk?
I think he started in August or September.
Okay. So,
yeah.
Not that long.
Not that long. Yeah. No. Because we went in November 1st. We were ready.
So when you went in November 1st, okay, so you guys are just selling cheesecakes, just kiosk in the mall.
Mm-hmm.
Did it start with, okay, I want to have just one cheesecake, one kind of cheesecake I want to sell? Or
no, when I went in, I had several varieties, because like I said, I had been baking already.
Right. So
I already had customers that had been already servicing Grace's Market. So I already had what I was doing. I just needed to do it there.
Where do you make the cheesecakes?
I have at a commercial kitchen. I was working at a kitchen co-op in Amityville Village, so that was my commercial kitchen. Now we're moving into our new store because we can bake there. But that was the place I was baking.
And so how many cakes were you baking?
In the beginning, it's a lot. It depending on how they moved. And then once we opened the second store in Walt Whitman Mall, I was in the kitchen 2 to maybe 3 times a week. And I was doing a couple of 100 cheesecakes a week.
Wow.
And each size, because we have different sizes.
Right.
So it varied, but it was quite a few.
So from start to finish, how long does it take to make one of your cheesecakes for you?
We had a 4-hour block in the kitchen.
Okay. So you can make a cheesecake in 4 hours?
Well, yeah. I mean, they're not ready to be sold because
Right.
they have to go in the refrigerator and there's other steps after it. But by the time our 4 was over, we probably could have 150 minis and maybe 200 singles done.
Wow.
Yeah.
And who's making it? Is you and
Me and
who
my
else?
daughter.
So the two of you guys.
Yep. And I have one other young lady that helps from time to time.
Wow. So all your fingers are basically involved in the production of every single one of these
Every
cheesecakes.
one of the cheesecakes.
That's incredible.
From the crust right on up to the topping.
So there probably hasn't been very many vacations since November.
No, matter of fact, we
2017.
haven't had another family vacation since 2017.
Wow.
You know, because
Yeah, I mean,
we've been
that's-
busy.
You know, a lot of folks see the success of the Cheesecake Spot, and you know, it's a great business. And some folks in their minds might say, "Hey, wow, I wish I thought of that idea, or I
Right.
did that business." But it's easy to see the end product. It's very hard to visualize the work that goes into creating that. So, you know, just think about that. In a year and a half, you haven't gone on a single vacation. I imagine you probably work nearly 7 days a week.
Yes.
The life of someone who's a chef or a baker, or you know, working where they're actually creating something, your mornings probably start, I imagine, very, very early. You're not getting very much sleep.
Oh, how did you know?
Now, well, you can't be, because, you know, I know you probably sometimes have to make cakes at like 2 or 3 in the morning. you know.
Absolutely.
The reason why I actually know a little bit about this is because we were actually chatting about this earlier. And one of the first like business development books I read at the end of 2017 actually was a book called The EMyth Revisited. And one of the small business owners he uses to describe the difficulties of running a small business is someone who makes cakes. And it's very, you know, you make cheesecakes.
Yes.
And I really got a glimpse into, wow, what a grueling lifestyle it really is, you know. And it's also, you guys are managing to scale your business. Now you have 2 locations, but you're not scaling the personnel really. So it's still the same people managing the locations. Who works at the kiosk though that sells the cakes? You guys
Right
too?
now, the kiosk, my husband's there a lot. My niece is there a lot, and my daughter's there a lot. I'm there sometime because somebody has to be in the kitchen.
Yeah, someone's making the cakes.
Somebody's
Wow, so, I
making
mean, this really is a true 4 people in your family are working in the business.
Every now and then, one of the guys will cover. Justin will cover if I need him. You know, if we get in a pinch and I said, Justin, I need you there for a couple hours, he'll go and cover.
Yeah.
Yeah, he knows how to do it.
That's like probably the fittest guy in the world selling cheesecakes.
He won't eat them, but he'll sell them for me because it's like he's the one who really is the motivator for me.
Yeah, well, that's really incredible. So, why don't you tell us a little bit about the new spot that's opening up? It sounds like you have a lot of this exciting
Yes,
stuff
I'm
on the horizon
excited.
here.
I'm excited. You know, we got the opportunity to take over a Subway, and we're going in, and the Subway has everything, you know, that we need. We just got to put our own oven in and maybe switch out a part for our display case, but there's everything, and put our sign up. So we're excited about going in, being able to bake there, being able to have the access to bake every day. So now I can push out my flavors of the month that I want to do. And people have been asking me about wedding cakes. So now we can experiment on doing the wedding cakes and designing those type of things as far as cheesecakes go. So amazing. I didn't have that opportunity working out of a commercial kitchen because I had a certain amount of time to be in and be out. So I'm excited about that.
So it sounds like you'll be working harder.
Yeah, I'll be working harder. I'll be working harder.
So what are some of the popular cheesecakes that you guys sell?
We have strawberry swirl, plus the classic plain vanilla, strawberry swirl, peach swirl, blueberry swirl, cookies and cream, apple cinnamon, red velvet. The list, you know, goes on. Hot chocolate. So there are a lot of different flavors that we carry, and then people ask for certain things. So we're working on things. Doing the holidays. Sometimes we have the mint flavor. So there's a lot of different flavors.
Pumpkin,
that we have.
I guess you must have.
We have the sweet potato swirl, which is our closest to pumpkin. Yeah, everybody thinks it's pumpkin, but it's sweet potato, and it's really, really good. They're really good cheesecakes, I have to say.
Well, I'm sure
not just because I baked them, but
that's amazing. So you're stocked with that many varieties of cheesecakes?
Already, yes. We have a lot of cheesecakes that we sell, and we're constantly baking, you know, so they're fresh because they move. So I'm very grateful.
Wow. How long does a cheesecake keep for?
You can keep it in the freezer for like 6 months.
Gotcha.
But in the refrigerator, 5 to 7 days.
Okay. Okay. So, but you make them fresh. They go in.
Yeah, they go. And people, and you know, the thing that we do, we have the sizes that, and I have to say the Cheesecake Spot is the only one that has the model that we have at the kiosk where you can walk up and it's like grab and go, get a cup of vanilla, strawberry, whatever. It's like ice cream. You can just eat it while you walk in the mall.
Right, because they're individual.
They're individual, yeah. They're
and what do you serve
individual.
them in?
We have the singles are in tins. They're little 4-ounce tins. It's crust on the bottom, graham cracker crust, and then you can have whatever flavor you desire. Then the little bigger ones, they're little minis. We call them minis. They're a little larger. You can actually share them, but most people don't want to. And then we have bites that are sold by the dozen, and I encourage these for people having events because you have variety of bites.
Gotcha.
So you can have different flavors. So we've done weddings and birthdays and stuff like that. So people like that option to be able to do that also.
Gotcha. So the bites are basically a larger cheesecake.
No, the bites are actually like cupcake size. So if you imagine a cupcake tin with cupcakes, instead of cupcakes, there's cheesecake bites in there.
That's actually a great idea for holidays.
It is.
I need to get some of those for my holiday parties.
Okay, they will work out well. I'm telling you.
So, like I said, the purpose of this podcast was really kind of to get the word out there that there's probably going to be trouble on the horizon once the lawyers get involved, and I imagine that we're sort of out of the woods a little bit right now. But there may be, lawyers are expensive, and
they are.
And we want you putting your resources into making cheesecakes and not paying lawyer bills. Yeah. So there will likely be a GoFundMe campaign.
Well, actually, we had a GoFundMe, which I just suspended it yesterday. We stopped taking donations. We raised $1,000. We do have lawyer fees that we have to pay, but I'm not, sure how much they're going to be. But I didn't just want to leave the GoFundMe up.
I gotcha.
So we did take it down yesterday. But if anybody, still wants to help, they can still just reach out. We'll be able to help them.
Why don't you give a plug to some of your social media where folks can find you?
We're the Cheesecake Spot on Facebook and the Cheesecake Spot on Instagram. And we have Twitter also. And it's all the Cheesecake Spot.
All right. So remember, that's the Cheesecake Spot. You can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter.
Yep, Twitter.
And everyone should go follow you guys because you'll keep us up to date, obviously, on what's going on with the developments.
We're going to keep the page updated, what's going on with the lawyers. And like I said, they don't want to meet with our lawyers right now. They refuse to meet with the lawyers. So I'm going to go have a sit down. And once the sit down is over, if we need to go further, then the lawyer, of course, can force their hand. But right now I'm going to see where we stand right now and what they're willing to do, because what they did to us was absolutely not right. And I just think it's corporate bullying at its finest.
I couldn't agree with you more. And this is a true David and Goliath type situation.
Absolutely.
And, we got a lot of people that are going to have your back. So
many mom and pop shops are being crushed, and they just walk away. And when my son came in that day, and I said, I'm not going to just walk away quietly. I'm not. And I just have to thank everyone that went on social media, whether they shared it, they shared a post, they called. The mall had so many calls on our behalf that they stopped answering the phone. They stopped answering their phone. They were like, it's fine. But we want to let them know that we're going to keep you updated on what's going on. And this way, you'll know, we'll know, and we'll work it out, because it's going to work out one way or the other. If I have to go all the way to the Supreme Court, we're going to fight for. Nobody should have a monopoly on cheesecake.
You're absolutely right. So everyone, please follow the Cheesecake Spot so you can stay informed. We're all got to support the Cheesecake Spot. If you're going to buy a cheesecake, you should only buy it from the Cheesecake Spot.
Thank you.
Which can be found at the Roosevelt Field Mall. There's a kiosk in the Roosevelt Field Mall. And in a few weeks, there'll be a storefront location
in Amityville
Village. So thank you so much, Laurie Jefferson, for spending this time with us. And I'm so glad I got to hear your story.
Thank you for having me.
And hopefully my listeners will be out there. We're going to be lining up at the Cheesecake Spot to buy some cheesecakes.
Come on down.
All right. Thanks again.
Thanks.
Nice. We actually have a cheesecake here. Which flavor is this?
That's blueberry, and I was taking some over to Roosevelt Field. My niece called me. She's there, and she was like, Auntie, the bottom is looking wet. And when he was there yesterday, he told me that he think the refrigerator might not be working properly. So we're going to check it. I was taking more over there so I can pull those. I don't want to sell nothing that's not,
Yeah, of course.
So that happened to be in the car. That's why it's not labeled, because it's going over there. It's going to be labeled. But that's blueberry.
Oh, nice.
I don't know if you like blueberry. But
I love blueberry.
Well, you can have it then.
Well, I'm going to try it right now. Try it on camera. This is my first bite of a cheesecake. Cheesecake, I'm sorry to say. But it's been a long time coming.
Yeah, it might be a little frozen because I took it out the freezer.
So I can still eat it frozen, can I?
Yeah. Justin loves it. He thinks it's ice cream. So does my brother.
Justin, don't judge me if I'm eating a cheesecake. Wow. That's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Is that blueberry compote?
That's blueberry swirl. We break it down, and
It's like fresh blueberries.
yeah.
This is I'm keeping them. I'm keeping the rest of this.
Okay, fine. Have it. Let
Thank
it,
you so much.
defrost
Delicious.
some and really enjoy it.
I'm good. I'm gonna leave it on my desk and eat it later.
Okay.
All right. Thank you again.
Thank you.
This is awesome. Thank you for watching the Dr. Mudgil podcast. You can find the corresponding audio to this podcast on iTunes, Spotify, and SoundCloud. Let's get it.